Hello everybody. Today I would like to show you something really cool. What we're going to do is basically using a controller to navigate on these tabs, and the screen information going to update depending on the tabs, and all of these are achieved on a single screen using variables. As you can see, I have very basic components. I'm going to actually start from scratch so you can see everything, but let me show you what I mean. I select my frame, shift and space. Let me enlarge this a little bit, and I'm just going to use my controller to navigate through these tabs. As you can see, the content area updates. We have got this first tab with some list elements, so I'm using the D-pad to go up and down, and then the content area on the right will update as well. This is all thanks to variables in Figma, and I want to show you how to use them. So stick around. First part we're going to go through the tabs, and then second part we're going to through the list elements. Okay, so let's see how it works. Okay, let's start this by doing the tab navigations here. So my first task, what I want to do is basically to be able to navigate from tab 1 to tab 2 and then to tab 3. And we have a little bit of a problem which I'm going to show you first, but let's set up our components. I'm going to set up my tabs here, and I'm going to go up here and create a component set. That's done. Select my labels to start with, and I'm going to add here a property text label create. That's great. I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to have two different states. I'm gonna call it active. There we go. And this button is going to be true, and then the other one is going to be false. There we go. Then I'm going to hold the option key, drag one out, so we got one component, Command C to cut, and I'm just going to update this area here. So I'm going to select my tabs that I had previously, and I'll just overwrite them. Okay, all of this is going to be hug. There we go. So what I want to do, changing the, I'll just start with changing the labels. So I select the component, change the label here to 1, the next one to 2, and then the third one to 3. There we go. So now that's done, what I'm going to do is going to create some variables. Thanks to variables, I'll be able to navigate in between these tabs without creating new screens. So let's create variables, starting with the new collection, which I'm going to call tab navigation. There we go. And then I'll create a couple of Boolean variables. Boolean variables because I want to use the false true values. The good thing in this that only one can be true at the moment, and that's what I'm really going to use here. So what I'm going to do, I change the name here to tab 1, and then just duplicate 2 times. So this is going to be 2, and then this is going to be 3. There we go. And I'm gonna start with just selecting a default state. So the default is going to be tab 1. So I'm going to change it to true right away. And then next step, we're going to link the buttons and the variables. So I'm just going to select my component tab 1, and then in here next to the active, I can basically select my variable and connect it together. So it's good because it's true. It's nothing going to change because it's already true. But the other two, when I go and connect them to the corresponding variables, because they set to false, they should change state. And 2 just change state. Let's 3 just change state as well. So this is great. Now let's start adding the interactions, and this is where it gets a bit tricky, but let's see. So what we're going to do, go to prototype and start adding interactions. So I'm going to add R1, and what I want to do, set variable 1 to false. There we go. And then I want to add another command here. Let me just drag this out a little bit, put it under, and what I want to do, target is going to be tab true, and it's going to be false. There we go. And I'm also going to add the third tab. There we go, and it's also going to be false. So that's good. Now I can just easily Command C and Command V to copy this interaction, and I'm just going to adjust it the way that 3 is going to be true, and then 2 is going to be false, which is already false. I probably have made a mistake on the other one, but that's fine. Let me go back, open it up again, and see. Yes, all of mine here is false, which is definitely not good. This meant to be true. There we go. Let me change it, and it's all good now. Go back to tab 3, carry on, and tab 3. If I press R1, what I want to see, I want it to go back to tab 1. So I'm going to change this to true, and the rest is fine. So now let's see if it works. It won't, but let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm using my controller, trying to go to tab 2 first, and nothing happens. Okay, so why does nothing happens? Actually, something happens. So the way Figma works is, because it doesn't know which R1 we mean, because there's 2 set up at the moment, it'll just take the last one. The last one was tab 3, which was taking, when you press R1, it will take you back to tab 1. So that's what it takes, that's what it accounts for. So if I would, for example, remove my interactions from tab 3, for example, I remove it. Now, if I play it again, then it will go and jump to tab 3, which it did. So this is the problem. And to fix this problem, what we need to do simply is going to need to change our components a little bit. So I'm going to start with the active one. And in here, let me just delete this. So in here, what you need to do is create an element, add an element to it. It doesn't matter how big, it doesn't matter what it looks, because that's not the point. The point is that they're going to hold interactions. So I'm gonna name this interaction layer, and I'm going to absolute position them. It doesn't matter, I just like to make it a bit neater. And what I want to do, I want it to appear but also to be invisible. So I'm just going to change opacity to 0. So because it's still active, even if it's invisible, any interaction I apply here will actually going to be accounted for. I'll do another one on the force. Again, absolute position them, tidy up a tiny bit. In here, what I'm going to do though is let's just rename this interaction. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off the appearance. So it is not actually turned on. If I add the interaction to this layer, it's not going to be accounted for. And that's what I'm going to use to be able to make the navigation. Let me show you. So now go back here, select my button, the interaction, and actually I'm going to take the other navigation I had here and just remove it. I'm just going to remove all these. We don't need it. So I go back to interaction, and let's start over. On keypad R1, what I want is set variable tab2 to be true. In the same time, I also want, let me just put this down here, I also want tab 1 to change to false. Okay, and then I'm gonna delete this for now. So tab 2 is true, tab 1 is false, and then tab 3 is going to also be false. There we go. So that's great. I'm going to copy this to my other interactions here. So in here, I'm going to make some changes. So when I press R1, I want tab 3 to be true, and then tab 2 to be false. There we go. I can reorder these just to make it nice and neat. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then just copy this to my other interactions. There we go. So in here, what I want, tab 1 to be true and tab 3 to be false. There we go. That's great. So that's what it wanted. So the idea is that, you see, this interaction is going to be accounted for when I press R1. This and this will wait until they'll become active. So when I press R1 here, this becomes active, activating the interaction layer, so I can again use another R1, and so on and so forth. That's basically the idea. So let's see if it works. If I press Shift Space and use my controller R1, it'll go to tab 2, R1 again, tab 3, R1 again, tab 1. So it is looping. That's great. So now all I need to do is add a couple of more interactions. So in here we got R1, Command C, Command V. I'm just going to use L1, and in L1 tab 3 is going to be true and 2 is going to be false. Let's tidy it up, move it in the center. There we go. This is perfect. And now we go to the next one. Again, I can just easily change this into tab 2 going to be left. That's tab 1 is going to be true, and then tab 3 is going to be false. There we go. Perfect. And then the last one is going to be, oops, there we go. So the last one, if I go L1, oops, I pressed the wrong button, L1, I want tab 2 to be true and active, and I want tab 3 to be false and not active. So right now we should have a fully functioning tab system. So we go R1, R1, L1, L1, and this is also looping. Now I'm pressing L1, now I'm pressing R1. So this is great. The tab system works, and all we need to do now is basically connect the tabs into this content area. One more thing I wanted to do is this content. Let's say this content area is connected to these other list elements, and I don't want this to appear on tab 2 and 3. So all I need to do, I'm just going to select the content, go back to design page or tab, and then in down here in the appearance section, oops, sorry, let's pretend you didn't see that. So we have this content area, and I'm going to connect the appearance and the tab 1 variable. How do we do this? We just right click on this icon, and then we'll just connect to tab 1. So what it means, it's only appear when the tab 1 is true. When tab 2 is navigated or used, it's not gonna show. So if I go to tab 2, you see that disappears. This is great. And now what we're going to do, take this one step further, and going to also use the tabs to connect to the tab content panel. So what I did here, okay, let me just show these. I'm basically using the same technique, and let me just show you what I mean by that. So I got all this content in an auto layout, and the appearance, the visibility of these panels need to be connected to the corresponding tabs. For example, tab 1 is going to be, I'm going to break this link again because I want to show you how it's linked. So tab 1 is going to be linked at the appearance. Right click on the appearance and connect it, link it to tab 1. You see the connection is on. That's great. Nothing seems to happen because it's at the moment set to true. Let's go to tab 2 and then right click on the eyeball and because it's false, set to false, it'll disappear. And that's what happened. Tab 3, the same. Right click on eyeball or eye, and it disappears. So if I start the preview of the prototype, when I tab to tab 2, it'll update to tab 2, and when I go to tab 3, it'll update to tab 3, which is really, really, really awesome and so easy, right? I'm just super excited about this because I can already see so much potential in this. Okay, so the next video is gonna be really interesting. What we're going to do, we're going to use this list element here, or list, and I'm going to navigate up and down, and this content area here will update by these navigations here. So don't miss out on the second part of this series. It's gonna be really, really, really cool. We're gonna go into a bunch of other things as well. We can go deep into settings, and we can go do inventory. So it's really exciting, and I'm very excited about this. So let's do this. All right, bye.